skydiving. This is amazing.
Yeah, but you know what else is amazing? An iPhone 6S for just $49 at Metro.
Really?
Imagine streaming all the way down with that amazing camera. I'm switching.
That's smart.
You know what else is smart? Parachutes.
Switch to Metro and get an amazing iPhone 6S for only $49. Metro by T-Mobile. Phone offer requires port-in of number not currently active on T-Mobile network or active on Metro in past 90 days. See store for details and terms and conditions.
Welcome to Life Transformation Radio. This show is all about life transformations and our journey from where we were to why we are doing what we are doing today. We will discuss the hiccups, the roller coasters, and the blood, sweat, and tears that has been poured out while discovering our purpose. It is all about our transformation. Here is your host, Sean Douglas.
Welcome, my friends, to another episode of Life Transformation Radio. I am here with my friend Daniel Gomez. What's up, buddy?
How you doing, Mr. Sean Douglas, sir?
What's up, buddy? So happy to have you on the show, man.
Thank you for having me. It's been a while since I was on the first time, and I'm excited of what's happening.
So, let's get to it. So, this show is currently heard in over 63 countries, including the U.S., Canada, Brazil, India, Malaysia, Austria. So I want to thank you to those who are listening from around the world. Life Transformation Radio is all about our transformations. Here is where we tell the stories of why we're doing what we're doing. We highlight that transformational moment that changed our lives and how we use this to help transform others and elevate their lives as well. You can listen to us live at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Join our Facebook community, Life Transformation Radio community. And you can also subscribe, rate, and review the show on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn, Player FM, and the Google Play Music app. On the show are entrepreneurs, speakers, business owners, coaches, podcasters, authors, and other amazing people who are impacting the world around them. And my guest today does exactly that. So if you have a question for my guest or any guest that I bring on the show or for myself, you can call in at 657-383-1109. Again, the number is 657-383-1109. So please help me welcome to the show the newest best-selling author, Daniel Gomez. So what's up, buddy?
So Sean Douglas, thanks for having me, my friend. Doing fantastic. I'm excited to be here. I'm so honored. Thank you so much. You said 63 countries you're on?
It's what?
You're on 63 countries?
I am, yeah, man, over 63 countries and counting.
Wow. Well, congratulations on that. That's a great accomplishment. So kudos to you.
Thanks, man. So let's learn more about you. Daniel Gomez. Okay, so the title of this episode is You Were Born to Fly with best-selling author Daniel Gomez. He is a John Maxwell certified keynote speaker, coach, and sales trainer. He creates an inspiring, motivating, and genuine environment for the attendees of his speeches and his workshops. The audience will leave impacted and changed, taking with them the mindset and skills needed to succeed in their personal and business lives. Daniel's expertise comes from 18 years in the automotive industry, leading, inspiring, and developing employees to be the best version of themselves. Having employees see themselves as successful and advancing in their careers contributed to the accomplishments of the organizations that he has led. Daniel's #1 Amazon best-selling book, titled You Were Born to Fly, Be Original, Be the Best You, was written to inspire and give people the confidence they need to succeed in life. This book will leave you with the mindset and habits you need to live a prosperous and abundant life. Now, you can go to his website, DanielGomezSpeaker.com. You can also pick up the book that is going to go live right here. YouWereBornToFlyBook.com. It's all in the show notes. Look them up on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So, dude, I got to know, man, like, why did you write this book? Like, what made you want to write a best-selling book?
I'm John Maxwell certified. I had gone to a conference in March, and I was just starstruck. Being part of the John Maxwell team, you meet a lot of authors, a lot of speakers, a lot of coaches, and there's one gentleman that has that.
Mm-hmm.
And man, it was my wildest dream at that moment in time this year, March, but I think
Hold on, dude. Hold on. I'm losing you, man. I can't barely hear you. Can you trade out a microphone, or do you have like earbuds or something you can use?
Can you hear me now?
It's a little better, yeah.
No, I don't. I was looking on my computer to try to plug in some earbuds, but I don't see why I can plug it in on the computer.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, on a computer, definitely you can plug in a headset. Check one of the corners. Front corners.
Front corners?
Yeah. Or try calling him.
Try calling him?
Yeah, you can try calling him.
Okay, let me try.
Yeah, the number's, yep.
I have it right
try
here.
that.
All right. Keep the balls for a good cause, right? No worries.
Right? I mean, we're live, you know, so, you know.
But saying what I was saying, I came back. Can you hear me now?
Hold on. Okay, go.
All right, there you go.
Way better. Okay,
better?
dude, let's do this. Yeah, way better. Okay, let's do this. Way
Awesome,
better, dude.
Awesome. Yes, well, like I was saying, I came back from John Maxwell, and this just with the fact of being there with authors and everything, I came back and we had a barbecue here at the house, and a friend of mine goes, I could see you writing a book, and I really didn't think nothing of it. I just kind of let it go by, and then probably about a couple of weeks later, same scenario, we were here hanging out, and they were just like, she goes, Daniel, you're going to write a book one day. And I was like, you're crazy. And her name was Joanne, and I said, there's no way, Joanne. And, I think, but when she said it that second time, Sean, it just really stuck in my heart. I felt like it was God speaking through her, and I got curious, and it wouldn't leave my mind, and I just started looking at publishers and what to do and how to do it, and one thing led to another, and before you know it, here we are several months later.
Best-selling book.
Best-selling book, yeah. So that's how it started. And, and let me tell you, you're going out there, and I'm not too sure about the publishing world, but just being out there, there's so many publishers to choose from, and you don't know who to do. And I got this one bid. Let me tell you, I thought it was kind of crazy. When I heard the first bid, I said, there's no way I'm going to publish a book. This publishing company wanted $22,000 to do it. And,
wow.
I'm going to be frank with you, not $2,200, $22,000. I was like,
that's
what?
crazy. I would never do that. Yep, I would never do that.
Yeah, and I was just like, you know what? It can't be that good, right? It can't be that good. So I just said, you know what? Forget it. Well, then I ended up getting this email, and I went to this free workshop in Austin, Texas, and it was a little bit better than one of them was $15,000, the other one was $7,500. I just said, I just told my wife, I don't think we'll just pray about it. Well, luckily I found 30 days to self-publish. Darren Palmer and his crew out there out of Dallas, Texas, and they were a fraction of the cost, and they probably did a better job than one of the other publishers did. So I'm very, very grateful for the product they put out, the content, that the way they did the design of the interior of the book, just the book cover itself, everything they did. it looks like a top-notch New York publisher did it. So I'm very, very happy with it.
Heck yeah, man. So talk about the book, man. You know, so the book will leave you with the mindset and habits you need to live a prosperous and abundant life. What does that mean, in your words, to live a prosperous and abundant life? What exactly does that mean?
Well, you know, too many of us, God didn't put us here to be average. God did not put us here to be mediocre. God created us here for a purpose. We have a destiny in our lives, and most of us, we don't even live that. We don't even live a fraction of who we are. And God put greatness inside of us. You have greatness inside of you. I have greatness inside of you. Just think about this. If you would have never taken the chance, I mean, just imagine back to your first episode on your podcast. You were a little bit nervous, and you know what? You probably thought, you know what? I can't do it. I don't want to do it. There was a fraction of a second, but you overcame that fear, and you stepped out in faith, and God honored that and met you there. But most of us, what we do is we're programmed since we were kids. And, you know, we have this mindset that it's okay to be average or to be below average. We settle in life. And this is what happens when we settle in life. We never fulfill the purpose God has for our lives. That's why the title of the book was, You Were Born to Fly, You Were Born for Greatness. You're born for success. And the meaning of that, Sean, is that you're born for something more than yourself. But most people are working. Today I saw a new stat. 89% of working Americans are dissatisfied with their job, and more than half of those are disengaged completely. They just go to work and go through the motions. True story.
Really?
Yes, sir. Can you imagine
wow.
that? That's why. It's sad because
that's
guess who that
crazy.
affects?
Your home life.
That affects me and you. Yeah,
and it affects
everybody.
And it affects everybody that they work with. You know.
Yeah, I mean, just think about it. It affects our country. It affects the economy. 89% of the people are dissatisfied. So what does it mean when you're dissatisfied in a negative way? You don't care about your job. You give it half-assed. So if you give it half-assed, guess what? The end result is you get a mediocre product. And that's why most people are unhappy in their situation, because they never live to their full potential and who they are.
That's crazy.
Holy shit. I mean, it's just yeah. So just in doing my confidence coaching, and I'm going out there and meeting clients and just people that want to hire me. And this is the funny part. Me and you kind of talked about this a little bit because you made a comment about yourself being a mentor, and most people they complain and they tolerate the intolerable, but they never change it. Guess why, Sean? Because they never want to invest in themselves.
Yep. Dude, I'll tell you what, man, the one thing I learned, so you and I, we went to the New Media Summit in Austin, Texas, and, you know, we learned a lot of stuff there. We met a lot of great people, but it rang true that exactly what you're saying, more so that people will only invest at the level that they think they are worth. So if you have a program that's $1,000 and they don't feel like $1,000, they don't believe that they are worth $1,000, then they're not going to invest in it. You could have a $10,000 program. It doesn't matter. It's like if they don't feel like they are valued enough for themselves, then why should anybody give value to them either? That's something we talked about.
Yeah, but do you know why though?
No.
People, in general, undervalue themselves.
They undervalue themselves.
They undervalue themselves.
Wow.
So think about this. When you undervalue yourself, who you are, when you undervalue yourself as an individual, that's where the problem starts. Let me tell you why. Because when you undervalue yourself and you think you don't have any value, well, the ironic part about it is you go looking for value, but this is where the problem is, Sean. You go looking for value in the wrong places. You get a boyfriend that really doesn't care about you, but you tolerate it because he has some form of value that you desire, or you get a girlfriend that isn't the girlfriend that you're supposed to have, but you tolerate her because she gives you some sort of value. Or you listen to your friends, you listen to your family members that they value you to a certain extent because maybe they want to manipulate you, but you're so hungry to add value to your life, but you add the wrong value because you undervalue who you are. And let me give you a good example. Does that make sense?
Yeah, man, totally does.
So let me put it this way. There's one of our clients. I teach leadership. So the law of the lid says this: the organization is never going to rise above the level of leadership. So, for example, a level 5 leader, your organization is never going to be higher than a 4 because it's going to top out at 4 because you're the lid. Well, we went through some training, growing with our John Maxwell. We have programs in place. Well, as the leader starts growing, this is where the ironic. I mean, this is just the amazing how when the leader starts to grow, guess what started happening to this organization, Sean?
Started growing? Yes,
but at the same time, guess what? The employees that didn't want to grow, they started complaining. They started saying, I'm not in school anymore. So guess what they ended up doing? They ended up resigning. Right?
Wow.
So when they ended up resigning, well, guess what? God brought new employees to this organization. They're 10 times more productive than the employees that resigned. But that's what happens when you raise your level of value and how you see yourself as worth more than what you actually did, say, 3, 5, 8 months ago. So I've been confidence coaching this client, and it's amazing this organization how the confidence level has gone up tremendously, and how this is no joke. I think they had a couple of employees resign because, we started doing coaching and growth and personal growth exercises, and some people just they don't want to grow, or it's not that they don't want to grow. It's because the people that they associate with, they're okay with. Put it this way: the 5 people you associate with the most, that's what your future is going to be like in 3 to 5 years.
Yep.
Right. So, and this employer was kind of worried. They're like, well, man, my employees are resigning. They're leaving me. What am I doing wrong? I said, you're not doing anything wrong. You're doing everything right. That's why people don't like change. And guess what? God blessed her with a new level, with new employees that are more productive, more energetic, and that appreciate her more now as a leader.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing? So, and all of that just because she saw herself of more value. And that's what it's about. You were born to fly. You were born for greatness. God didn't put anybody on this planet to be mediocre, to be average. You think about this. Sean, would you go to a restaurant and say, you know what, I want an average waiter?
No.
Would you go to a restaurant and say, you know what, I want an average table? No. Or would you say, you know what, just give me average food. You know what, I want to pay your $50 for a steak, but just give me an average steak. I don't even want it to sizzle. I just want it to be average. Would you pay for that?
Hell no.
Right? It sounds funny, right? But think about it. Americans, not just Americans, but people do that every single day. They settle for average because they're programmed, they're trained that way. That's what their thought process is. And they'd rather tolerate what can be changed instead of doing something about it because they don't want to go through the growth pains. And it's not easy. Believe me, when I was writing the book, You Were Born to Fly, I was waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30 in the morning. Believe me, there was some mornings I didn't want to get out of bed. But I persevered, and I said, you know what? Inch by inch, I'll make it a cinch. That was my motto. If I can do a little bit every day, before you know it, the book will be ready. The book will be done. And that was my mindset.
That's a good, inch by inch. Would you say inch by inch?
You make it a cinch.
Make it a cinch.
Inch by inch, you make it a cinch. But the thing is, most people, they see a task. Say you want to change any part. Just say, we'll talk about fitness, right? We'll talk about fitness because a lot of people out there say they want to get working on their health, because New Year's around the corner. So come January, in less than 90 days, people are going to be on this health kick. Well, what happens is they try to do too much the first 2 days. They try to do too much the first 2 weeks. They want to go in there and they want to say eat the whole elephant at once, and you can't. If you've never exercised before, guess what? Just walk around the block. Then once you start walking around the block, guess what? Run around the block. Well, then at that time, go get a gym membership, walk on the treadmill, go from a level 3 to a level 4, then to a level 5, and little by little. But most people get on this health kick and they want to go to the gym and they want to run at a 7-mile-per-hour pace, and they're dead for the next 2 weeks because their body's not used to it. But if they were to approach it inch by inch, if they were to grow just 1% every day, just 1% every day, you're going to be not 365% better at the end of the year. You're going to be 1,000% better, because the compound interest is what's going to catapult you to the next level, Sean.
Oh, yeah. No, 1,000%. You know, I just watched a Tony Robbins video. It looked like a long time ago, because he was kind of younger, and I think they were still with the Anthony Robbins thing, you know. And he was saying, he's like, man, I was getting so mad because I was golfing, and I wasn't being consistent. I was consistently sucking, but then again, I wasn't even consistently doing that. You know, it would go up, it would go down, it would go all over the place, you know, whatever. It's like, I don't know what to do, you know, and I was like, maybe I'll fire this coach, because he's not even telling me what to do. Like, just coach me. Like, what do I got to do? Like, what am I doing wrong? He's like, nothing. I'm doing anything wrong. He's like, well, then what the heck? He's like, you're just a millimeter off. He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, you're just literally, you're a millimeter off. You're a millimeter off. And what he said was, if you turn the face of the club just a millimeter, right, the ball will then become consistent. You're a millimeter off. You're a millimeter up, you're a millimeter over. And then he went to the doctor's office because he's mentoring this plastic surgeon. And so he's looking through the book, and there's measurements all over these people's faces. And he asked them, he's like, why is there so many measurements? He's like, because the perfect person has certain measurements. Their lip space between the bridge of their nose and the top of their lip has to be the same amount of space as their entire eye socket. So if you are a millimeter off on the eye socket, you're kind of ugly. If you're really off on the nose or whatever, you're butt ugly. So he's like, it's all about a matter of measurements. So, you know, that's basically what you're saying, is that it's a matter of measurements. Like, even if you watch Any Given Sunday with Al Pacino, he says it's a game of inches. Right? It's a game of inches. Like, you claw and you scratch for every inch, and those inches equal feet, equal miles. So you change something a millimeter, and it skyrockets. And sometimes people just need a mentor to give them one little change, one little tweak, one extra strategy, you know? So you and I, we talk all the time, like, what's this working, what's not, what's this, here's this, try this, you know, whatever. And, you know, later down the road, here we are, crushing it. Just needs one little tweak, one little thing to do differently, and to do consistently over and over again. And you're right. But the sad part about that is I was on the phone with one of my I don't want to say one of my clients, but a friend of mine that I care for dearly. And I'm like, what is it that's keeping you from moving forward? I already knew the answer to that, but I asked her anyways. And she was like, well, I don't know. I'm just fear. And she was giving me all these excuses. I said, no, let's get down to the real fear of what. What's keeping you from being you, from being the best sales rep that you can be out there in your product? Well, I don't know. I'm just scared, you know. And she's real. She has that voice, right? And I said, right. You know what your problem is? She goes, what? I said, your problem is this. Your fear is a fear of criticism. You worry more about what your circle of influence says than about your own future down the road. Because I look at your Facebook feed, and guess what? You're doing the same thing over and over for the last 2 years. That's why your business isn't growing. Mm-hmm.
And she just stayed quiet, no joke, for like 5 minutes. and it seemed like hours. And I was like, I'm not telling you because I want to be mean to you, but I thought I had to tell her that and get in her space a little bit, because people think success is easy, and it's not. But you have to make the decision and not worry about what your circle of influence is. And I told her, one of the hardest things I did when I became a speaker, I became a confidence coach, I had to change my circle of influence. And I love it. Yeah, you miss some of those people that you're close to, but they're not gonna support your dreams. So why do you want to be around people that, granted you're a little bit younger than I am. I go, but going out clubbing, drinking every weekend, it gets old after a while. And where's your business at?
Yep.
But does that make sense?
Oh yeah, definitely, man, definitely.
But it's the fear of criticism that they have, that they don't change. And I talk about that in my book. I talk about that, about valuing who you are. And another thing that keeps people from valuing themselves is this, I have a whole chapter on this in my book. It's forgiveness, Sean. And most people walk around with this 80-pound bag of sack potatoes, that I call it, on their shoulders, and they carry this with them everywhere they go. And it becomes bitterness, it becomes resentment. And the more you carry it, guess what? The heavier it gets.
Mm-hmm.
If they would just forgive and let go, right? So let me give you a good analogy for the people out there listening to your radio. And this is going to open up a lot of your audience's eyes on Life Transformation Radio. Just imagine, Sean, me and you are out there. We're having a bottled water, just a regular 16, 20-ounce bottle of water. Well, the weight of the water is 16 ounces, right, to say? But
yeah,
if we hold that bottle in our hands for 10 seconds, it's not that heavy, right?
Okay.
But say we hold that bottle in our hands. Now we have it in our hands for 3 minutes. Same weight, say everything, but what happens?
It gets
your hand
harder
gets a little
to
bit
hold.
tired, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So that same weight of that water bottle, you have it in your hand for an hour. Now what's going on in your arm and your fingers and everything else? They're burning up. And get this. So say you hold that water bottle in your hand for a year, man, you wouldn't make it. You're dying after an hour, much less after a day. But that water bottle is a representation of the unforgiveness we have in our heart and our souls, that the longer we carry it within us, the heavier it gets and the more it weighs us down. And next thing you know, you're not a happy person and nobody wants to be around you. But the real tragedy is when this, I was guilty of this for myself, and I'm going to be totally transparent with you, is the hardest person to forgive sometimes, Sean, is yourself.
Oh,
it's that person
huge,
in the mirror.
Man. Oh, huge. Yeah, dude, for real.
And I remember, I remember this past summer, we're talking about maybe like in July, maybe even June, and I was in bed and I just teared up, and my wife goes, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "I don't know." I said, "I'm just thinking about, these past years and how I failed in so many areas, and I failed at being a leader sometimes, and it just, I don't know, I'm just thinking about that." And she goes, "Well," she calls me Dan sometimes. She goes, "Dan, you just need to let that go." And I go, "Well, I thought I did, but I'm thinking about it, so obviously it's not there. I mean, it's there." And I thought I was okay, but in any healing process, even within yourself, I believe there's different levels, Sean. I believe that you have like a level 1, which is, say you're losing weight, the first 10 pounds are easy to lose. Well, then the second 10 pounds are a little bit harder, but the last 10 pounds, you're going to have to work for it. Well, I truly believe that unforgiveness is the same way. The first time, I forgive myself, you feel better, that initial weight's gone, but then as time goes on, okay, that unforgiveness that's deep down in there, and for me, I think that's what it was. It was that unforgiveness that I had against myself. And I just finally said, Lord, just help me to just move forward and to trust in you. And I'll admit I shed some tears that night, and my wife goes, "Honey, it's the past. Just let it go." I said, "Well, I thought I did. I did all the steps I needed to do." And some of it is just when God's getting ready to take you to another level in your life, He has to cleanse out everything that's inside of you to make sure that you're capable of handling the blessing. Because everybody wants the blessing, but they don't want to have the character to handle the blessing.
Right. Oh, dude, that's huge, man. Say that one more time.
Everybody wants the blessing, but not everybody has a character to handle the blessing.
Dude.
And
how many times have we seen this in the speaking world? A lot.
Yeah. I mean, everybody wants that, but they can't. They don't have the character. And you're like, Dad, somebody listening right now saying, "Oh, that's a whole hoagie story right there." I'm not lying. You know why? Because look at the statistics of all the people that have won $1 million of the lottery in the past 10 years in America. And guess what? After 3 years, over 90%, I think is what the stats are.
Yeah.
They're bankrupt, they're broke, and they're back in the same. Why?
Yep.
Because they don't have the character to handle the blessing.
Yep.
I know. You say that. You know why? You're right. Because guess what? I think a husband and wife, one of them killed each other because they wanted the money. Man, people do something crazy when you don't have the character to handle the blessing.
Yep.
It's gonna destroy you. So, but God loves you so much that He's not gonna give you something that's gonna kill you or that's gonna destroy you.
Yeah.
So give it.
I'll tell you what.
Give it to you at the proper time. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, man, but oh my gosh. So a lot of people misread it. They say, well, He doesn't give you any more than you can handle. He doesn't. BS. He gives you way more than you can handle. The Bible says, verbatim, God will not tempt you any more than you can handle. Not give you. Oh, He will give you until you break. Like, I mean, we don't. I mean, we're not going to get into like this huge, religious, talk or whatever. But I mean, really think about it. Like God killed Job's entire family. Like, took everything away from him. Like that would break normal people, but it didn't, because he kept believing. Like, God, I don't know what you got going on, but like I believe in you. My faith is solid. My faith is solid. Like, I'm gonna believe in you, God, and whatever you had planned. And He's always giving it back to Him and giving it back to Him, and and the devil even had to, ask God's permission to even tempt Job, and God, whole family gone, right? Let it happen. God, let it happen. And then because of his unyielding faith, He gave him double the amount of blessings that he once had before. So it just goes to show, you have to have foundation, you have to have the character, right? Like you're saying. So, and this is just what you and I believe, Not everybody believes, but this is what we do.
But the main point I want your audience to hear is that forgive yourself. You know why? Because God's already forgiven you. And just like that, we were talking about that water bottle that we're holding. The longer you hold a little water bottle, even if it's an 8-ounce water bottle, the smaller one, after an hour or two of holding that water bottle, you can't do it anymore. And that's the same way that unforgiveness is towards someone else or yourself. After a certain amount of time, you can't hold it anymore, and it crushes your inner soul. And that's why you have that bitterness and that resentment, or you see that person that's not happy. And my desire for the people that read my book is to inspire them to forgive, that they can live the life that they were meant to be. That's the whole purpose of me bringing up the water bottle and talking about it, and letting them know that, there's a better life out there for you. Just let it go and let God, and you'll see how much more. Because I was a captive of my own, of what I'm talking about right now. I was a captive of my own soul, because there were certain areas of my life that I hadn't forgiven myself for, Sean. And we're talking about recently. We're talking about less than a year ago. So, and some of these things I was blind to. And God doesn't want that for us. God wants us to prosper. He wants us to fly. You were born to fly. And I say that with my heart. I say that with my soul because I want to see people thrive. I want to see. Can you imagine if we had an organization where people go to work and everybody was smiling and a good attitude and they believed in each other and they edified each other and they said, hey, well, if you need help, let me help you out. Can you imagine how much more productive not just that organization would be, but how profitable it would be?
Yeah.
It'd be amazing. It'd be amazing. So that's where my inspiration came from my book, was to really help people to see that even, and you know, you don't have to believe in God to read my book. But if you take away one or two key points, I promise you it's going to bless your life because it has practical. I even put it in Christian Science because there's I talk about imagination, about using your imagination and having a daily routine. It's to better your life, and having something simple as just having a positive attitude, a champion's attitude is what I call it in the book. So there's so many gold nuggets in there, and it's all tailored to help people. And the great thing that the feedback I've gotten, I have one of the professors at UTSA. They're doing a synopsis for me, and they go, you know, this is powerful stuff, but it's simple. And I think sometimes authors out there get too they want to use these big fancy words, and people miss the message. And the way I wrote it, it's powerful, it's short, but it's profound, and it's going to definitely impact you.
I love it, man. I love it. And I think that everybody needs this book, man. Like, I mean that wholeheartedly, man. Everybody needs to read this book because sometimes we don't feel like we deserve an abundant and prosperous life. You know what I mean? Like we only think that we're gonna struggle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It would. You know, it's funny you bring that up because let's put it this way. Something I talk about in my book is a rule of 151. So the rule of 151 says, if you have a child, whether it's male or female, their whole life they've been told by their parents that they're no good, they're never going to amount to anything, and they can never do anything right. You can never clean your room right. You're never good in sports. Just imagine that child's out there being raised in this environment, which happens every day in our country. It happens every day, not just in our country, but across the world. So they've been told this for the past 16, 17, 18 years. Then they finally get to, say they don't go to college and they go work at this workplace. And they have a boss like Sean and Daniel, and they say, you know what, I believe in you. You're going to do great. They want to believe it, but they've never been told that. Well, what the rule of 151 says is that a person needs to hear something 151 times where they actually believe it. And the irony in this is that most people, 151 times. Psychologically, they need to hear it 151 times. But the thing is, most people give up on that person. So I'm going to read it to you, right? So let me just read it. It's a quick, short paragraph.
Sure.
The rule of 151.
Go ahead.
If you are the leader of an organization, make the time today to encourage and speak greatness into your employees. You could do this by complimenting their work or encouraging them when you see them when you see they may be getting frustrated. Marsha Hope, author of Step-by-Step Business Blueprint, shares the rule of 151. She shares that it takes 151 times to say something for someone to believe it, and before it enters the conscious mind. The first 50 times, people don't hear you, Sean. The second 50 times, they don't understand you, Sean. And the third 50 times, they don't believe you, Sean. And it isn't, let me repeat, it isn't until they've heard it for the 151st time that they finally hear, understand, and think, you know what, this might be true. This must be true. So if you take 151 times, just what the study showed this, well, the average month has 24 to 26 working days in a month. So if you put that times 2, that's 2 months is 50. So in the first 2 months, you've only hit that first 50. And guess what? They don't hear you in that. The third and fourth month, you're barely at the second 50. You're at 98 to 100. And they don't understand you. And the third 50, they still don't believe you. So if you have a calendar in front of you, it takes 6 months to get this message to that person, to that new employee, to that student that you're trying to change their life. But this is the deal. Most new bosses, most people give up on the person they're trying to help after 30 to 60 days. And you're barely within the first 50 times. Yep. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They just give up?
But well, just think about it this way. Just think about you being in the military. Just you're up there in the ranks. Just imagine if you have somebody that you're kind of trying to mentor because you're a mentor in the speaking world, but you're mentoring them at work, and you ask them to do something, and to you're telling this person this. You're telling them this. We'll just say for the sake, you're telling them every day. So for 2 months, you tell them, I believe in you, I believe in you, I believe in you. You can do this job. Well, they still don't get it. So by the third month, what happens? You're already frustrated. You're like, man, this person is never going to get it. But most people don't take into account the rule of 151. Maybe their whole life they've been told that they're not worthy. Maybe they've been told that they ain't going to amount to anything. So as soon as they start getting some momentum, they start to sabotage their own thinking. And the rule of 151 clearly explains it, that it could take anywhere from 4 to 6 months before somebody really believes and says, this must be true.
Wow.
Powerful stuff, right?
It is. It is, man. You got me kind of thinking now, like, how many times have I given up on the 100th or the 101st?
Yeah.
Or the 149th? Right?
Well, I'm going to be real transparent with you and your audience, Sean. I thought of my wife. I thought of my wife because for the longest time, I'm the one that controlled the money. I ran car dealerships for several years, and I was always a breadwinner, and God bless us very well. But I had this thing about being a control about money. That was just my pet peeve to say. Well, I would always ask, well, what did you buy? What's this? I would just be on. I mean, I can run a business, put it that way. I'm always on top of numbers, but I went to the extreme. And in doing that, I noticed as God started changing my heart, my wife would make comments, and nothing bad, but she'd be like, she would tell me everything, and I'd be like, I'm not even asking you the question, but I had already programmed her to tell me what she was spending and what she spent it on. Right? So I would tell her, honey, you don't have to tell me what you're buying. Don't worry about it. In something as simple as she would go to H-E-B here in San Antonio and say she would spend $300 on groceries because of a barbecue or whatever we're having. Oh, honey, just want to let you know, like if I was going to get upset, I spent $278 for such and such occasion. I said, oh, okay, no worries. But she would expect me, like the old Daniel, to respond, and I didn't understand it, but she already had that belief system within herself that that's the way I was. She knew how I was towards money. So I had to change that within myself and tell her, you don't have to tell me every single thing. But I would tell her that, I told her that, probably for 2 or 3 months in a row, and by the third month I was like, why do you keep telling me this? I don't need to know. And she's like, well, I don't know, I just thought I need to tell you. But guess what? The rule of 151 says that she doesn't believe me until the 151st time. So when I tell her, honey, you go buy whatever you want, I don't care, I trust you, just buy whatever you need to buy, spend whatever you need to spend. She wasn't used to that. Totally on the other side of her mindset, because I was that way for over 15 years. But there was a point that I got frustrated with her to say, I said, Marty, you don't got to tell me every little thing that you spend. But granted, 2 years ago, I was the one calling her and saying, hey, well, why did you spend $150 on this, or what's this $100 for? You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So when I gave her the freedom, the leash to go do whatever she wanted, the door was wide open, and she wouldn't go do it. Why? Because she had the belief system that, well, I need to make sure that Dan doesn't get upset, or that we talk about what we're spending. So it took me some time to. And when I started studying the Rule 151, I was like, that's why she was like that. It wasn't that she didn't want to, but she just didn't hear the message I was telling her, because I had been telling her a whole other message for the past, 18, 19 years. Crazy, right?
That is, dude. That is nuts. I'm trying to think about what I'm putting out now. Like,
yeah.
So as a drill instructor, they used to tell us, like your trainees know if you're being sincere. Your trainees know if you're having a bad day. Your trainees will feed off of your energy. If you're super pumped and you're super excited, they will feed off of your energy. If you're low and you're dragging, they will feed off your energy. I'm like, So I kind of look at that as my speaking career too. If I'm super pumped on stage, they're going to be super pumped. If I'm super bored on stage, then they're going to be super bored, right? So yeah, man.
Yeah. But
I get it, man.
You just said something profound there. You just said something profound. The thing is, they'll buy into the energy, they'll buy into the pump and the motivation for that second, for those minutes, because their state changes. But after the high comes down, they go back to the belief system that they had. And that's why in running dealerships for the past almost 16, 17 years, as a manager, as a general sales manager and the right-hand man to the owner of the dealership, you would wonder, why do some salespeople do great one month and then they don't do good the next month? Well, because in their minds and their belief system, say they would make $3,000 or $4,000, they've never made that in their whole life, so they feel guilty because they made that much money, and they would go back and they would have a sorry month the following 2 months because their thinking would fit into, you know what, I'm not worthy, I don't value myself. And so I had to learn to reprogram these sales professionals' minds to have them believe that you deserve it. Don't feel guilty because God's blessing you with a good living and you're doing an honest living. You're not out there selling drugs. You're not out there robbing anybody's house at night. You're doing something that's so. But you'd be surprised how many salesmen would sabotage their own selves because of their belief system, because they didn't believe that they deserved this in life. But I saw it day in, day out, month in, month out. Yeah. So it's just amazing stuff.
So give us one solid, life-altering, changing principle from your book. Like if you had to say one thing about your book, you had to give one. I mean, the 151 thing, I'm like that blew me away, man. I'm like, really? You have to say that? Like, maybe that's why affirmations and incantations are so powerful, because you repeat it over and over and over, and you start to believe it. So give us one takeaway, the one thing that you want them to know that is in your book or about your book. What would that one thing be?
That you aren't your parents.
That you're not your parents.
You are not your parents. You're not your parents. You're you. You're unique. You're a masterpiece. The dream, the purpose, the desires that you have in your heart are for you. God put those in your heart for yourself, not for your parents, because I think too many parents mean well, but they keep their children, they keep their kids from being who they're supposed to be. And you got to think about it. Back in after the Great Depression, everybody had that scarcity mentality. They had the mindset, if you have a job, just to be grateful for that job, and you work at your job for 20, 40, 50 years and you retire. But that's not society anymore. And I think a lot of parents, they hold back their children because the fear of, you're not doing bad, mijo. You're not doing so bad. Why do you want to do something crazy like that? You have a good job. And to your parents, you got to remember, they grew up earning 30 cents a day or 30 cents an hour, whatever it may be. Minimum wage was $1.25 back in the 70s. That's what they grew up in that area as young adults. And now it's different. So now they think, okay, well, great, you're making $12, $15 an hour. You're banking, and you're not. You're in poverty still. And I think most entrepreneurs, most people that want to be a speaker, most people that want to be a podcaster or do anything just to be whatever it is that they want to step outside of the regular 9-to-5 job, the parents say, "Why do you want to do something crazy like that?" I hear it every day. And my message is, you are not your parents. You are not your parents. The dream, the vision, the desire that you have, that's for you. It's not for it's not even for your best. It's not for your girlfriend. It's not for your boyfriend. It's not for your best friend, for your cousin, for your favorite cousin of all. It's not for them. God put that dream in you. You know why I say this, Sean? Because my parents are deceased. But as I started this journey, and I've known you now for almost going on 10 months already, Sean, and I say this from the bottom of my heart, you're probably one of my closest friends now that I have. And
thanks.
even though you're in North Carolina, I feel a lot closer to you than I do to some people that are here in San Antonio. Because you've supported me, you've helped me. We've just talked and hung out on the phone, and being at the New Media Summit was amazing. But the main thing is you just reassured me that, you know what, Daniel? You might have a crazy, off-the-wall, ridiculous dream to be a speaker, but guess what? I have the same ridiculous, crazy dream too, so let's go on this journey together.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah.
But how awesome is it to find somebody like that, you know?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Not all the time, man.
It's priceless. It's priceless. And too many of us, we look to our parents for guidance when our parents ain't the ones that are going to be paying your bills. They're not. The dream's not for them. And and if your dream is to be a millionaire or to have $1 million or prosperous business, your parents haven't done it, so why would you seek their advice for it? They don't know how to do it. Not that their intentions ain't good, but they don't have any aspect of how to even get there, because if they did, they would be living that life themselves right now. So that's my number one takeaway. You're not your parents. You are you. You, the audience of Transformation Radio, are unique. So don't settle. Don't cut yourself short because of the voices and the back of in the back of your mind, you're hearing your mother or your dad saying, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't try this, play it safe. Well, guess what? Playing that safe doesn't get you anywhere nowadays. Playing that safe gets you to where you're unhappy, you're disengaged at work, and you're going to be just like 89% of the other population, where you hate your job, and you're just, next thing you know, 10, 15 years go by, and you're still stuck in the same old rut because you didn't take that chance on yourself. So if you're going to bet on anything in life, bet on yourself. Bet on you. And when you start betting on yourself, then people will bet with you on you.
Heck yeah, man. Dude, I love that, man. You should be a speaker.
Well, I'm trying out right now, so I just came back from Star Search.
Yeah, right. Right.
I just came back from Star Search, but they told me that
Right. So how do we pick up your book, man? Where do they go? Do they just go directly to Amazon, or like, what's the best way to do it?
Well, you know, tomorrow is actually the launch date for my ebook version, and I really need everybody's help. 99 cents from Tuesday, October 2nd till Sunday, October the 7th. 99 cents is the launch week. I need your help out there, everybody. 99 cents. When they buy 5 ebooks, Sean, tomorrow through Saturday, and preferably tomorrow, I want to have a big launch date. Praise God. When you buy 5 ebooks, they can post it on your Facebook page or my Facebook page, Daniel Gomez Inspires. Just take a screenshot that you bought the 5, and you're going to be in the Saturday. I'm going to have a drawing. I'm going to give away 2 $100 bills. If you're in San Antonio, it'll be an actual $100 bill, where my way of saying thank you for sponsoring me and supporting me in my book. So somebody's going to say, well, guess what? We're worldwide. Well, if you are in North Carolina where Sean is, just download the Cash App, and I'll transfer the money, and you'll get it within minutes or seconds, actually, that way. So Amazon,
perfect.
The hard copy's already available, and the ebook's going to be available tomorrow for to buy. You can actually pre-order, but you can only pre-order 1 copy today. And I also have it on my website for the hard copy. Just click the link, DanielGomezSpeaker.com, DanielGomezSpeaker.com, and it'll take you directly to the Amazon hard copy page.
Perfect. Love it. Awesome, man. Dude,
Man.
I know for a fact, man, this book is absolutely incredible. And so everybody needs to go get the book right now. You Were Born to Fly. Be original. Be original. Be the best you. So any final thoughts, Daniel?
Any final thoughts? Well, Sean, I want to just, first of all, thank you for having me on your show. It's been a blessing. I've had a great time just catching up and talking to you. And my heart is this. I'm going to say this. You're not here by accident. If you're listening to this podcast, it's for a reason. And God is not done with you yet. Your best is yet to come. And even though you might have failed one time, even though you might have failed 2 times, even though you might have failed 10 times or 100 times, I want you to know that you have a Father in heaven, not a mean, ugly God, but a Father in heaven who's a heavenly Father who loves you and who cares about you. And the Bible talks about a story about the prodigal son, that God's there to meet him on the driveway. And you're like, is this story true? And audience of Life Transformation Radio, I'm telling you it is. You know why? Because I was that prodigal son. And when I came home, God opened his arms to me. And I'm no better than you. That's my final thought, Sean.
All right, man. Thank you, brother. So, Life Transformation Radio listeners, an amazing guest. Buy the book, You Were Born to Fly. Be original. Be the best you. Go to Amazon right now. Out. Awesome, man.
That was good stuff, right?
That was good stuff, dude. I'll give you a call here in a minute.
All right, call me.
So I can end the episode. Okay, see ya.
Skydiving. This is amazing.
Yeah, but you know what else is amazing? An iPhone 6S for just $49 at Metro.
Really?
Imagine streaming all the way down with that amazing camera. I'm switching.
That's smart.
You know what else is smart? Parachutes.
Switch to Metro and get an amazing iPhone 6S for only $49. Metro by T-Mobile. Phone offer requires port-in of number not currently active on T-Mobile network or active on Metro in past 90 days. See store for details and terms and conditions.
Skydiving. This is amazing.
Yeah, but you know what else is amazing? An iPhone 6S for just $49 at Metro.
Really?
Imagine streaming all the way down with that amazing camera. I'm switching.
That's smart.
You know what else is smart? Parachutes.
Switch to Metro and get an amazing iPhone 6S for only $49. Metro by T-Mobile. Phone offer requires port-in of number not currently active on T-Mobile network or active on Metro in past 90 days. See store for details and terms and conditions.